All right, everybody. This is J.Silver, and we are back for part 2 of our Star Rail character guide. In our first part, if you didn't check it out, we covered Arlen, Asta, Donhang, and Herda. And we're going to try to get through all the rest of the 4 stars in this video. I did have some disclaimers, some general info that helps with this walkthrough. So if you have not seen part 1, at least the very beginning of it, before I get to the characters is going to be helpful. I'm not going to repeat it to save time because there's a lot to get through. So let's jump right in. First up, we have Hook. Hook is a fire character. She's got a lot of HP, really good attack. But her speed is definitely below average. Normal speed is around 100. And she's definitely below that. And defense is also really low. She's like very low defense. What makes her special is she's the first character we're getting to really that's like dot focused. She does a lot of damage with her skill and her ultimate, but she also does a lot of dots. Let's see how this works. So her first skill, she does 120% of her attack to an enemy, and there's a 100% base chance to inflict a burn for 2 turns, and the burn does damage. Her ultimate does a bunch of damage to a single target, and then it empowers her skill to be like a hit 3 units. It's basically like a full multiplier burst. So it does the main target and then the adjacents at the full damage. And her talent says whenever she attacks somebody who's burned, she deals an additional fire damage equal to her attack and additionally regenerates 5 energy. So you want to attack things that are burned. So ideally, you use her skill to burn somebody, and then you use her ultimate to attack them and enhance your skill, and then you use your skill again to do it to triple attack people. That's like the ideal. So right off the bat, we're seeing that Hook is very skill point dependent. Like she wants to eat all those skill points you guys have got. All right, let's check out her ascensions. When she triggers, that's her hot oil in the flames. That's her talent. When her talent is triggered, she restores HP equal to 5% of her max HP. Well, that's pretty important because self-healing is pretty rare in this game, and it's also pretty powerful because, like I talked about in the first video, there is a healer problem in Star Rail, at least right now. This is interesting as well because when you enhance your skill, it's very possible that you can apply burn to 3 people, and then you can attack 3 people again if you add like any other type of AoE, like another empowered skill later on in the fight. So you could potentially heal off of this because you can trigger your ability more than once, your talent more than once, potentially. It'd be pretty hard to do this, by the way, guys, but it is possible to trigger this more than once in one attack. So you could heal like up to like 10 or 15% attack HP in like one attack, but that's very unlikely. Resistance to crowd control debuffs, passive, cool. And when using her ultimate, her action is move forward 20%, which is what she wants to do, guys, and she regenerates energy. She wants to ultimate and then attack with her empowered skill. All right, so her eidolons, enhanced skill deals 40% more damage. That's a big increase to our big AoE that we're using. This is like kind of the hook, line, and finisher of our combo that we're trying to set up. Like what we're working towards with our kit is this enhanced skill that's a big damage generator. I don't think this is mandatory in any way, but it is nice. Extend the duration of burn by 1. I'm not convinced that this is that important either. I'll have to play test. I never played with Hook when I played the beta, so this is like fully like speculation here. I definitely never had her at a high, like any eidolons. I think I only pulled her in one of the 2, the closed test and not the beta, and I pulled her much later and I didn't build her. So I never got a chance to play with her. I did borrow a couple friend units though, and I did like her animations and the way she played. Let's see. When her when Hook's talent is triggered, there's a 100% chance to apply burn to the target and its adjacent enemy until units for 2 turns. Enemies inflicted with burn will take fire dot damage. Okay, so this turns her her talent, which is this, which lets you, when you attack a burn unit, you deal fire damage to 50% of you deal additional 50% of her attack to damage people. So it lets you essentially multi-burn people. So like if you were to do that, you would like you're spreading burn, which makes it easier. Like once things start dying, you attack with your ultimate. It just like lets you trigger this passive more frequently. Like the passive like spreads the fire to more people, which then makes you trigger the passive more, which spreads the fire more. So it just makes it way easier to trigger her passive. This is like it's pretty strong, but honestly, most of her damage is not in her talent. It's in her, like her empowered skill. So like, this is like kind of like frosting on the cake, but not the cake. And Eidolon 6, she just deals more damage to enemies inflicted with burn. This makes her talent deal more damage. So like you're seeing like her Eidolons like really focusing on her talent, except for this first one, which focuses on her skill. So I would say like overall, Hook is not really Eidolon dependent. Like the first one is probably going to be like honestly the biggest damage increase out of maybe if you got all like the 4 and 6, you'd see like a significant increase in like her talent procking, which would give you like overall a pretty good damage increase, but I don't think it's really that necessary in any way. But yeah, she's the leader of the moles. You guys, lots of people like her. Sure you'll have fun with her if you decide to play her. March 7th is up next. And March 7th is one of my personal favorite characters. I love this character. I think her kit is amazing. Everything about her is just like great. She does not have very good attack. Her defense is really high. HP and speed are about average. Basic attack deals 50% of her attack. She doesn't have a lot of attacks, or her basic attack's not going to deal a lot of damage, but she is ice, and this does have a chance to freeze. Skill gives a shield to somebody based on her defense, and then also the unit, if they have higher than 30% max HP, taunt people that she like creates a tank with the shield, and then also taunts for that unit. Like they're attacking the shielded unit, not March 7th. You can target March 7th with the shield as well and make her tank, but whoever you shield is tanking. Her ultimate is an AoE that freezes, has like a pretty high freeze chance, and it is ice damage. This is like very powerful. It's also on a pretty low, like this website doesn't give energy numbers, and I don't really feel like reporting the energy numbers I do know about, because they could just change before the game comes out. But from what I've played, her energy's on a relatively, like it's a low energy number like for her ult, so you can use this pretty frequently. And it's just an AoE freeze. It's very powerful. So her talent lets her counter attack whenever a shielded enemy is attacked. The counters deal ice damage equal to her 50% of her attack, and she can only trigger this counter attack 2 times each turn. So this is really just great for breaking people's toughness meter, and it's also great for like applying freeze to people. It just gives her more chances to proc freeze. All right, so Ascensions, all really good too. Her second skill, which is her targeted shield, removes a debuff from someone, so now she's cleansing people as well as giving them like more survivability. Her Ascension 4 increases the shield's duration for 1 turn, which is huge because it goes from 3 turns to 4 turns. So you can actually like have shields up on multiple people for a pretty long time. Like you can have them on like 3 out of your 4 members of your party almost a lot of times. And Ascension 6, her ultimate's base chance to freeze enemies is increased by 15%, which is pretty substantial because it's like a triple hit, I'm pretty sure. We can go back up and look. But On hit, the enemy has a 50% base chance to be frozen for 1 turn. While frozen, the enemy... it's not a triple hit. It's just once. But while frozen, the enemy cannot act and will take dot damage. You go 30%. So you would hit people for, say... so you have a 65% chance after that. All right, eidolons. This one is huge. First one is like a massive like power increase right away. Her talent's counter goes up by 1, so she's going to counter attack people 3 times instead of twice. And then her counter now also scales off her defense, which is a really high stat. So like she basically makes up for her low attack by like getting a piece of her defense as her damage. And she actually starts dealing like, she's not DPS damage, but it's like it's no longer like a BB gun. It's now like a a real like bullet kind of. Second eidolon is just it seems like everyone has some type of energy generation somewhere. This is just an energy generation eidolon. 4. Upon entering battle, grants a shield of 50% of her defense plus 200 to an ally with the lowest HP percentage lasting 3 turns. This is really big. It just gives somebody you get a free shield that's even bigger than her skill shield on someone at the start of battle. Really great. And then her, I don't think though, it's not the same, so they don't get the taunt either. It's just a massive shield on somebody. And then her 6th, I talked about this in the first video a tiny bit in my disclaimer, but on her 6th eidolon, she now becomes a healer. Her shields now give people 6% of their max HP plus 48 at the beginning of each of their turns, which means they're gaining back more than 24% of their HP through the duration of a 4-turn shield. This is really, really huge. This is like... really, she also will start out the battle healing somebody for free because it's with the lowest HP percentage. So the person you want to like heal the most at the start of a fight, she's going to give them a shield and then slowly heal them up throughout the fight. So this is like she becomes crazy at E6. Do I think that she needs her eidolons to be good? No, absolutely not. She's really, really strong without it. I think eidolon 1 is worth pulling for if she's on like a banner. Like an event banner, it's definitely worth like trying to get eidolon 1. Eidolon 6 is insane. It's like a huge difference, but eidolon 2 and 4 are like, they're fun. I mean, the second you'll be able to spam her ulti more with this, like really, really well. And then eidolon 4 is really nice as well with the shield, but they're not like game breaking in any ways. Eidolon 6 changes the way, like her entire dynamic in your team. It changes like what team comps you can run because you now all of a sudden have a healer where before you just had some shielding, counter attacking CC bot. But she just kind of does everything. Like she CCs with the freeze. She applies tons of weakness break. She starts dealing not a lot of like a not minuscule amount of damage with E1, and she protects people too. She's like giving people survivability. She just does everything. I think she's a great unit. You get her for free right at the beginning. She's one of the base characters of the game. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about March 7th. Next up, Natasha. Okay, I talked about her a little bit. She's the free-to-play healer. I'm gonna give everyone like 30 seconds of to leave, come back in 30 seconds if you don't want really, really generic spoilers on like when something happens in the story. So now's your time. Leave, come back in 30 seconds. So you get her about 40% way through the game, and she is very like. It's before you get Fire Trailblazer. So the Trailblazer is also physical. And at that point in the story, most likely you are running the physical Trailblazer because he's a Nat 5 with Nat 5 stats, or she if you pick the girl. But the Trailblazer is like a physical damage dealer. She is physical. You don't really like to run multiple of the same type. And on top of that, you've already invested in the Trailblazer, most likely, at least somewhat. And so, like, to that point in the game, to stop what you're doing, to build Natasha, and then, like, replace her with the Trailblazer and make Natasha be good enough to replace the Trailblazer, like, and not hurt your team comp, it takes a lot of time. You're basically, like, massively side questing to do this. Now, healers are very powerful. They like give you a lot of wiggle room to like make mistakes or to like not have optimal strategy because they kind of make up for their like any like errors you have because they just like they heal you back up. It's just like get out of jail free card. But in that saying all of that, she kind of does nothing except heal. She has very low attack. Her only damaging skill is her basic. So it's gonna take her forever to break physical weakness stuff. Like she's gonna minimum have to attack like 2 to 3 times, something. And if it's a boss, it's gonna take forever. She heals on her second skill, single target heal. AOE heals on her ultimate. Her talent lets her heal more with her skills. Her eidolons pretty much are just all increases in healing. Her Eidolon 4 is an energy generation that just lets you use more healing. Her Eidolon 6, if you were ever to get it, maybe makes her basic attack deal more damage since it scales now. Like it gets scaling based on her max HP, which is what you're stacking on her. So I guess Eidolon 6 maybe will help you break physical shields better. She's still not going to deal like a ton of damage, but I guess she would deal like enough to break shields a little faster, probably like toughness shields. I never got her to E6, so like, and I'm probably not going to ever try to get her to E6 because better healers will probably come out soon. Like I mean, there's the healing problem of this game with there not being that many healers is not going to last forever. Like they will make new healers. Her ascensions, more healing. Sixth one is more healing. Ascension 4 is kind of cool. Her skill, which is the single target heal, now also removes a debuff from somebody. This is pretty cool. I'm not going to hate on her for that. This is pretty strong utility. Cleansing is always very powerful. But yeah, I mean, I sound like I'm being mean to her. I'm just not a fan that you like when you get her in the main story, like she doesn't really fit on your team at that point. Like the organic like campaign playthrough is like. It just like she doesn't fit. Like if she wasn't physical, I would have a lot less like reason to dislike her. I just like wish she wasn't physical. But she is, so I mean that's just how it works out. Aside from that, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of her like overall. Like she just doesn't do anything except heal. And healing is really powerful, but it's just not that like interesting to me. But if you like her character, her personality, I mean, she's got big personality. Go for it. Have fun with Natasha. She definitely will make your go through the campaign easier for sure. All right, next up on the list is Pela. Pela is maybe one of the more anticipated units for like their long-term viability. So she is another ice character. She has decent speed, good defense, meh attack, meh HP. She's not a damage dealer though, so it's not a big deal. She deals damage to her basic attack, removes a buff. So this is the first unit we found that removes buffs from enemies, and deals damage to a single enemy. Her ultimate is the only defense break in the game. It's an AoE defense break against everyone with a 100% chance to inflict exposed status. Really, really cool. Very powerful. I wouldn't say the only one in the game. It'll be the only one at launch, but the first banners 5-star also can give people exposed, but only for themselves, I think. We'll get there in the 5-star. I'll cover them. But in video 3 we'll get to the 5 stars. But in terms of AoE defense break, only one in the game. Her talent increases or gives her energy when she inflicts a debuff. So she can keep uptime of her defense break up for a very long time. Her ascensions are really like her ascension 4 is cool. It gives her allies an effect hit rate up, which is cool. But her ascension 2 and 6 are not really that big of a deal. Pela is not a damage dealer. She doesn't really do significant damage. Even if you like have her fully. I mean, I've never had her eidolons 6'd out, but like you'll see her eidolons. A lot of them also are just random damage steroids. She's not really an attack damage character. She's not really gonna do that much damage, but you know, they don't really interest me that much. Alright, so when an enemy is defeated, she generates 5 HP, or 5 energy. Cool. That's cool. More usage of her ultimate for uptime. After using her skill to remove an enemy buff, her speed is increased by 10%. This is awesome as well. You know, you're getting speed ups to use your abilities more, and use specifically even gain skill points by using her single target hit. Keeps uptime of your defense break more. This is just overall really good. Her Eidolon 4 is the best one. It may even be mandatory on her potentially in the late game. It makes it so her ultimate like also gives them a debuff where they take 50% more toughness damage. This may be mandatory for people who are trying to use the AoE units with her to like cleave everything down. I talked about in the last video how AoE units are like in a weird spot. If they were to do anything, it would probably be with Pela. I don't believe anybody got the AoE units to like really work correctly in the beta or in the closed test, but we also were not able to spend money, and we were only had limited access to things for a very like small window of time. So like people never really got units to like Eidolon 4 or Eidolon 6 or anything like that. We never got weapons, light cones to high Eidolons. So the quote unquote meta is like undiscovered. So if something were to happen with her, everyone's anticipating it because of this Eidolon 4 and with AoE units. When Pela attacks a debuffed enemy, she deals additional ice damage equal to 80% of her attack to the enemy. So it's a damage steroid again at Eidolon 6. So Eidolon 2 and 4 I think are probably the most powerful overall. But yeah, Pela, very strong, potentially in the end game. I don't think you'll find the defense break particularly super useful while just playing through the story, though. All right, Qingque. Qingque. I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. So everyone likes to call her RNG girl. I don't like her to think of her that way. I think she's like anti-RNG. I think her entire kit is actually like about cheating. So like essentially you're a poker player who's trying to stack like cheat your hand into having like a full house or like whatever. Like that's basically what you're doing. So how she works is she has like under her character name, you'll see these tiles that you start accumulating. They're basically like, you know, dominoes tiles, or maybe they're supposed to be mahjong tiles, but basically you get these tiles that have different suits. Her basic attack gets rid of one of them from your hand so you can get a new one, and deals quantum damage. She's also the only quantum damage, like quantum unit in the game aside from Seely, which is a banner unit. So if we go to the character page, Seely's a 5-star. She's the first banner in the game, and then she's quantum, and then Qingque is also quantum. I'm definitely butchering her name. I apologize. Okay, so her skill draws 2 tiles, and then you immediately get an extra turn, and then the damage from her for her next attack is increased by 14%. Cool. Gives you tiles. Why do you want tiles? Because you can have a max of 4 tiles, and there's 3 different suits. And when you get 4 tiles of the same suit, you get an empowered basic attack that deals a bunch of extra damage. And then you lose all your tiles. So you are basically, you also get a tile every time an ally has a turn. You just draw a tile. So your allies go, you get tiles, or you can draw tiles with this skill. You ditch tiles of like suits that you don't need with your basic attack. Your ultimate changes all of your tiles to be like the fish suit, which makes them all the same suit, so you get the empowered basic attack right away. That's how it works. That's what you're doing. All right. So you're just trying to cheat your hand essentially to get like 4 of a kind, and then when you get 4 of a kind, you do a lot of extra damage. you recover a skill point after she uses her skill for the first time in battle. This is awesome just because it lets you draw. You don't really need to spam her skill after like you do it one time. You basically only have to do it once every time you like dump your hand when you get 4 of a kind, or at the beginning of the battle when you're just trying to immediately build up like tiles. That's really the only reason when you use your skill. So she actually is like generally an auto attacker to generate you skill points, like generally. And then Ascension 4, when using the skill, increase her next attack by 10%. Damage steroid, she increases her speed for 1 turn after using an enhanced basic attack. That's cool too. Speed ups are always nice. Deals more damage with her ultimate. Every tile draw is triggered, she generates an energy. That's cool too, because her ultimate is her best cheating ability, so lets you instantly get 4 of a kind, so that's cool. After using her skill, there's a 30% fixed chance that she'll use an additional basic attack after her next basic attack. This is also really cool. She can like double basic attack. Pretty cool. The big damage increase there. And then during the enemy's turn, there's a 65% chance of her drawing 1 random tile. Well, you get 1 whenever your ally has a turn. When you hit E6, you get 1 whenever an enemy makes a turn. So between all those turns happening, you filtering your hand, you're most likely just going to get 4 of a kind before you go again. Like, this is, like, insane, like Eidolon 6. Like, you'll never have to use your skill, like, almost ever when you have Eidolon 6. So she's just always going to basically have... like 4 of a kind, and then you're just gonna like hit people, and then that's gonna be it, which is really cool. I've played her. I think she's a lot of fun. I think like using the tiles and the animation with it and stuff, I think it's like a fun, cute like kit. People make fun of her for RNG. I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as like trying to like you're basically playing a cheating card player. All right, next up is Sampo. I've never played Sampo. I really wanted to. He's the Dot team's like ace in the hole. We've talked about a couple of the Dot characters before already, and he is like the king of them all. We're gonna go backwards in his kit first. So when he attacks, all of his attacks have a 65% base chance to inflict wind shears for 3 turns. Enemies inflicted with wind shields will take the wind dot damage, and wind shears can stack up to 5 times. So his talent gives everything he does the chance to apply wind shears. His ultimate deals wind damage equal to his attack to all enemies with a 100% base chance to increase the target's dot taken by 21% for 2 turns. This is dot, not wind shear. So if you have like a bunch of fire from Hook, for instance, and you have ice, like the cryo dot from March 7th, and then he like puts wind shears on everyone, all of those dots are getting a 21% increase in their damage for 2 turns off of this debuff. This is why he's like the king of the Dot team. Like this debuff that he's applying right here is like a damage steroid for the dot for all dots. And then his skill is a multi-hitting attack where each multi-hit has a chance to apply wind shears. So you can apply a lot of stacks of wind shears with this. Throws a dagger that deals wind damage. It's only 30% of its attack to a single enemy. The dagger will bounce randomly between enemies up to a maximum of 4 times. So this is like a potentially 5-hit. It can apply 5 stacks of wind shears across multiple enemies like right away. Alright. Extends the duration of wind shear by 1 turn. So now the wind shears are lasting longer. The dots are taking more damage. Using his ultimate, additionally regenerates 10 energy. His ultimate, that's more uptime on your dot, increase on damage, dot damage. Enemies with wind shear effect deal 15% less damage to Sampo. This is pretty cool if you're on the Dot team with March 7th. You can shield him to give him taunt, and then he takes less damage because everyone's wind sheared. This is like pretty awesome. Like it's a nice little combo. Let's see. When using Sampo's skill, throwing dagger, gain 1 more bounce. This is cool. Just more wind shear around. When an enemy with wind shear is defeated, there's a 100% 10% chance to inflict 1 stack of wind shear equal to talent on all enemies. Like I said, I've never had Sampo, let alone having an eidolon 2. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but if it's reading like with stack /s, if that's correct, and it means that like whatever level your talent is like how many stacks of wind shear you're gonna give to every single enemy, then this is like an absolute insane like eidolon. Like it's going to give like max stacks when he's fully built to every single enemy, and they're gonna last like 4 turns or whatever because of that. This is like, right, they last 3 turns plus 1 from his thing. Yeah, like, so he's gonna give max stacks. Like this is like, if that's how it works, it's actually insane. When his skill hits an enemy with 5 or more stacks of wind shear, which if eidolon 2 works the way it is, almost everything's gonna have max stack wind shear. The current wind shear immediately deals 10% of its current damage. This is like a huge, like having the dots deal their damage immediately for free without lowering them at all is really powerful. And then Sampo's talent's wind shear's damage multipliers increase by 10%. So it's normally 26% of his attack. It's going to go up to 36% of his attack. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. We'll take wind dot damage equal to, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, unless it means the rate. What does it say? No, it's damage multiplier. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Sampo's insane for a dot-based team, and I do think that the units exist for a dot-based team. I think we have Hook for fire. I guess Himiko as a 5-star option. You have March 7th as an ice unit that can do it. And then you have Serval, which we're about to get to, can apply lightning very easily as well. The shocked status. So I think it's a very like free to play friendly team that's very 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 strong. All right, so Serval. I also don't think, by the way, is touching on Sampo one last time. I don't think any of his eidolons are specifically 100% mandatory, but I think the main thing you're getting out of this is this damage increase here. But if this eidolon 2 really does work the way it reads like it works, this thing would be insane. I wouldn't say it's like 100% mandatory, but it will make your runs like very fun and very fast. Like this is insane. I don't know how else to describe it. That's just absolutely insane. Serval deals lightning damage. I just talked about her in the dot-based team, but just preferencing this, she's not actually like a dot unit. We'll see in a second, but so she deals 60% of her attack to a single enemy and lightning damage equal to 30% of her attack to any adjacent enemy, with an 80% base chance for enemies hit to become shocked for 2 turns. While shocked, enemies take dot damage equal to 40% of her attack at the beginning of each turn. All right. Ultimate deals lightning damage equal to 108% of her attack to all enemies. Enemies already shocked will extend the duration of their shock state by 2 turns. That's awesome too. They get you increase their shock turn count. All right, so talent. After Serval attacks, deals additional lightning damage equal to 30% of her attack to all shocked enemies. So this is really why you're trying to apply shocked. You're just trying to proc her talent so that she you're trying to shock things so that whenever you attack again, you just deal extra damage to all the shocked units. So she's really just a massive AoE unit that's trying to shock things so that she can do even more AoE by proccing her talent. So you you try to get shock on everything, and then even if she's just basic attacking, you're still proccing your talent to just deal damage to everything. Ascension 2. Serval's skill has 20% increased base chance to shock enemies. So it goes from a 80% base chance to 100% base chance. Cool. She immediately regenerates 15 energy at the beginning of battle. That's cool. We get an ultimate, which extends the duration of shock faster. Upon defeating an enemy, Serval's attack increases by 20% for 2 turns. That's cool. Nothing crazy. Cool. Eidolon 1, which we will all have Eidolon 1, by the way, because when you get Serval, Serval is a free-to-play unit. There's a quest in the game that rewards her to you. And then on top of that, we're going to get one due to the pre-registration rewards. So we will have Eidolon 1 Serval. Serval's basic attack deals lightning damage equal to 60% of her basic attack to a random enemy adjacent to the basic target. Pretty cool. So even her basic attack is now a multi like targeted. It's like a semi like small AOE. Really cool. Every time her talent is triggered to deal additional damage, she regenerates energy. Really cool. Her whole kit's about triggering her talent. So now we get to use her ultimate more because we're using her talent more. Serval's ultimate has a 100 base chance to apply shock to any enemy not currently shocked. This shock has the same effect as the applied by her skill. This is actually insane. Her ultimate is the AoE that also extends the duration of shock. I did not ever get Serval to E4, so I can't test this personally, but I was told by people in the beta that how this works, that people got already Eidolon 4, luckily, is it does, in fact, apply the lengthening to it as well. So it's going to apply like 2 turns of shock and then extend it by 2. So like they get like everything just goes up. It's pretty nuts. It keeps shock on everything right away. And then Eidolon 6, when her energy is at 50% or higher, her basic attack and skill damage are increased by 20%. This isn't that huge. I don't think that her Eidolons are necessarily needed. Where Eidolon 1's probably actually like one of the stronger ones, and we get it for free because of the pre-registration reward. So I think Eidolon 2 is nice as well, because we get anything that lets you spam your ultimate more is cool, because your ultimate like cuts turn order, so it's just like a free turn. But yeah, Eidolon 4 is powerful, but I don't think it's needed in any way. Serval's really cool. I think she's good on the dot team, but I also think she's just a really powerful AoE unit. I think she's completely viable in the game. All right, we only got 2 left. Sushang. Sushang may be one of the best 4-star single target DPSs in the game. The only weird part about her is kind of the same thing as Natasha, which is that early on you're kind of invested in the Trailblazer because you can't summon like for a little bit, and then like you are like the Trailblazer is a 5-star. You haven't until you unlock the fire form. They're physical, but you know you can always sideline them. It's just like early on in the game, it's a little harder to sideline them than you'd think. All right, so what makes her so good? As I talked about in the disclaimer in the first video, you multi-hits are better than 1 big hit. She has a lot of multi-hits. Her skill deals damage, and then there's a chance to trigger a bonus attack called Sword Stance, which deals 50% additional damage equal to 50% of her attack to an enemy. If the enemy has weakness break, the trigger of activating this is guaranteed. So if they don't have a shield and she's attacking a health enemy, this is guaranteed. All right. Her ultimate deals a bunch of damage to a unit, immediately gives her a turn, and then her next skill has 2 more chances to trigger Sword Stance, and you can trigger all 3 if you're crazy lucky. All right. Or if she's using this skill against something that's just health based, you can also hit just like all 3 of them are guaranteed then, so you just hit 4 times. Okay, so in addition, her attack is increased by 18, and using her skill has 2 additional chances to trigger whatever. Sword Stance is triggered from the additional chances, though they do deal less damage. But that's not as big of a deal if you're attacking something with physical weakness and you're just trying to break its shield. She may not trigger all 4 times, but she's still going to get in more than once, which is really good. Like multi-hits are really powerful on breaking weaknesses. All right. Her talent is when there is an enemy with weakness break on the field, her speed is increased. So as long as something's hurt, she gets a speed increase because she's trying to kill that thing with low HP. Or with that HP is exposed, I should say. It doesn't have to be low HP, but she's trying to kill the things that don't have shields. But even if that's what her kit's designed to do, she's still good at hitting like physical things because she has potentially a multi-hit. All right. Her Ascensions, when her HP is below, this is the same thing as Donhang, just less chance to attack her if she's below 50% HT. For every Sword Stance triggered, the damage dealt by Sword Stance is increased by 3% to a max of 10. So this could potentially increase her Sword Stance's damage by 30%. After using her basic attack or skill, I don't know what this means. I don't think I ever got her to Ascension 6, so I don't remember what it does either. And who knows, maybe it's going to be changed in the game, so I'm not going to spend the time right now to look it up. Let's see, Eidolon 1. When she, if the target of her skill has weakness break, recover 1 skill point after using the skill. This is pretty insane if you're targeting something with that is like HP exposed. You just like deal, like it's a free skill. It's not resource hungry. After triggering Sword Stance, she receives 20% damage reduction for 1 turn. This isn't really that big of a deal. You're going to trigger Sword Stance a lot, but the damage reduction I don't think is a huge deal. Most comps have some way to heal, or if they don't because there's a healing problem, they at least are running a preservation unit to give everyone shields, and taunt with a tank of some sort. So either March 7th is giving someone a giant fat shield and is taunting them, or you're running Fire MC to taunt, or you're having you have a Giard or Clara. Like you have something that's drawing aggro on your team in most cases. So like this is not a big deal to me. Sushang's break effect increases by 50%. This is insane for like a million reasons. If you're fighting a boss and you're just wailing on it and it has physical weakness, this is like making your multi-hits on it like just like do that much more damage to its weakness bar or its toughness bar. Otherwise, it gives you the chance to, like, on your first attack, hit like a minion and instantly break its thing, and then have a guaranteed trigger on its HP with your sword stance. This is like really powerful. And then Sushang's talent speed boost can stack up to 2 times. Initially, after ending battle, she immediately gains. Speed boosts are very powerful, but I think this is a little weak for an Eidolon 6. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying this is not powerful. I just think as an Eidolon 6, this isn't really that good. I think like this should have been like 4, and this should have been 6. But this is really powerful. If you're building Sushang, do I think she needs any of these? I actually think that this Eidolon 1 is pretty important. I think without Eidolon 1, she's pretty skill intensive, which isn't necessarily a be-all end-all, but you just can't have multiple skill point intensive units on one team. And I do think she's skill point intensive without having like the skill be free if she's attacking the weakness break thing. That's like the only one. I think the other ones, like while powerful, specifically the Eidolon 4, I don't think it's needed for her to be good at all. I think she's fine without it. Will she deal more damage and be like crazy more powerful with it? Sure, yeah, but like it's not make or break. All right, last but not least, Tingyun. We saved the best for last. We have the cat girl, fox girl. I don't know what she is, but she's got the ears, and she's got the face, and everyone loves her. She's their favorite. I mean, and she's worth it too. She's probably the best support in the game. Her kit is stronger than a lot of 5 stars. So what does she do? All right, so her skill is really where it's all at, and her ultimate, they're just insane. Everything else is just like icing on the cake. So she increases the attack of a single ally by 25%. Up to a value no greater than 15% of Tingyun's current attack, and blesses the ally. So this reads very confusing. Basically, Tingyun has not like a great attack. So if you're targeting something that also doesn't have that great of an attack, it can get the full 25% increase. But if you're targeting your main DPS, the main DPS is only going to get a 15% of Tingyun's current attack. All right, it's just a way to balance like how much this buff is affecting like certain units. All right, the blessed ally deals additional lightning damage equal to 20% of their attack, and when hitting enemies for 3 turns. This is insane. It's basically giving someone a multi-hit of a different element that they normally would do, and it lasts for 3 turns, and then the damage that it's dealing is based on that unit's attack that's getting buffed currently. And you're going to target most likely a main DPS. This is like actually insane. It has so many uses. It's so good. Also, I'm not 100% sure on this, but you people comment if you know the answer to this, but I'm pretty sure this also like triggers on things like follow-up attacks and stuff, which is like why people love using her with Bronya. And it's just so much extra damage. It's really, really strong. Also, as we'll see later on, let's just go to her talent. We'll skip her ultimate for now. Upon hitting an enemy, Tingyun deals extra lightning damage equal to 30% of the attack of the blessed character. So even though Tingyun doesn't have a crazy attack, if she's blessing the main DPS, she's getting 30% of their attack for her basic. That's like, so she'll start doing real damage too. Really, really strong. Her ultimate is gives ultimate energy to another ally and then increases that ally's damage by 20% for 3 turns. So it lets somebody else use their ultimate and then damage buffs them. It's like an insane. This ultimate is like actually insane. All right. And then her Ascension 2 gives her a speed increase by 40% for 1 turn after using her skill. Just because why not give her like an insane, it's like one of the, maybe the biggest like speed increase in the game too. Like it's just so 40% is so much. Increases her basic attack damage by 40%. This is her only damaging skill anyway, and it gets buffed. Her attack gets buffed by whoever she blesses, so this is really cool. Tingyun immediately regenerates 5 energy at the start of her turn. This is like an insane, like 0 conditions have to be met, like energy generating thing. Eidolons, the blessed allies' speed increases by 20% for 1 turn after using their ultimate. Just insane. Just like another speed increase for an ally now. The blessed ally regenerates, so she's giving even more energy regen to whoever she blesses. So she's feeding her allies energy even more. The damage multiplier of bless increases by 20%. So it was originally 25, or the damage multiplier, that's this. So the lightning damage is now 40% of their attack, not 20%. It's like pretty nuts. And then the energy regenerated by her ultimate increases by 10. And it's just like all the eidolons are kind of just icing on the cake. Like she's like so good. Her kit is so powerful. You could have 0 eidolons and she's like still one of the better units in the game. And then if you add eidolons, she's just insane. Tingyun is like just like kind of like nut broken. I mean, honestly, like she's really that good. She's better than like most of the 5 stars in the game. She's just like that powerful. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that like, if you're using Tingyun, that means you're not using any other electric character. So like if you're planning out your summons for as a free to play, like on which banners you want to pull, like Jingyan is an electric character as well. Like you don't really want to have like Tingyun and Jingyan on the same team. So keep that in mind as well. So that ends the 4 stars. In part 3, we will be covering all the 5 stars. Please like and subscribe. Check out part 1 if you didn't. Talk to you guys later. See you in part 3.